Hey there, cat lovers. Today I'm sharing my experience of a road trip from LA to Seattle with not one, not two, but three cats. So let me introduce you to them. First, we have Henny, which is our senior kitty. He is 10 years old. Then we have Luna and Ash, which is our younger duo. Luna is 4 years old and Ash is 3. So now let's dive into our journey and some tips we learned along the way. First off, preparation is key. We did small practice trips so that our cats can get used to the drive. We started off with super small ones at first, where we would drive from the house to the bank, or even before that, we were just putting them in the car so they can get the feel of it. We wouldn't drive anywhere, it would just be in our carport, and slowly started driving further and further distances. We did the bank, we would do the park, and then from my house to my mom's house, which was about, I think, like 15 miles. We did as many trips as we could so that they can be prepared from the LA to Seattle trip, which is 1,000 miles plus. Henny, in particular, did pretty well on these drives. He really did show promise for our larger trip. He didn't seem scared at all. He was curious. He wasn't moving around as Luna was. Luna was walking around, looking out the window and exploring, but she was shaking most of the time. She's our more higher stress cat. She actually was prescribed Prozac because of this reason. So we were a little concerned with her. I'll be honest, she was our biggest worry because of this. We did keep that Prozac on hand just in case. We didn't use it just because we don't want her to get used to that. And then, I've seen some videos and I've seen that it does take the personality away from the cat. I don't know. I didn't see myself using that unless it was worst case scenario. The reason we even discovered that she was high stressed or had these issues was because she started spraying around the house, and that actually stopped. So thankfully we haven't had to use it yet, but we did have it on hand. Next, comfort is super crucial. We discovered that the cats were less stressed outside of their carrier. The first few times we kept them in there for the smaller trips. I'm not sure why we even did that, since we knew that for the longer trip they would be out of their carriers. Without stopping, in a perfect world, a drive from LA to Seattle is about 18 hours or so, the GPS says, but we knew that we'd stop for like meals and snacks and gas and potentially to even sleep. So we knew it was going to be 20 hours plus. And so obviously that's way too long for a cat to be in a carrier. We noticed that once we let them out of their carriers, they weren't so stressed. Ash, I don't know how, but he managed to get outside of his carrier. We had to get a special hard shell one for him because he's just so strong. We also made the back seat super cozy for them. We were very strict on not putting any luggage back there. Absolutely nothing went back there that wasn't for the cats. So we had cozy blankets, cat beds, a little cat carrier that hung to the back seat headrest so that they could chill there and look outside the window if they wanted to. None of them even used it. It was a waste of money, but we had that there. Their comfort was our priority. We also placed the litter box back there. We placed the litter box behind the passenger seat on that floor. Ash, every single car ride, he would always duck and hide under the passenger seat, like literally under there. And so because we placed the litter box on the floor of the passenger seat and he couldn't really access that bottom part, he ended up staying in the litter box for like the first 4 hours. And we thought, well, what if the other cats need to use the litter box? Like, they can't access it because he's just hiding in there. So on one of our rest stops, what we did was we moved it from the floor to the actual seat. We secured it somehow, some way. We found a way to secure it with the seat belts. It didn't fall over. I don't know how we did it, but we secured it. And then so the floor of the passenger back seat was free, and he just hid under there most of the trip. It took us 24 hours. We ended up having to stop and sleep. I couldn't do it anymore. I stopped. I put a timer for like 2 hours at a rest stop, and I had to, whatever. It took us 24 hours on the road, and I think that Ash didn't come out until 21 hours in, because the last 3 hours he was like walking around and exploring. Maybe he just needed to stretch his legs, but he really didn't come out at all. Each cat was very unique throughout this road trip. Henny was fine. He seemed fine throughout the trip. He wasn't walking around and exploring as much as Luna was, but he seemed calm. He didn't whine at all. I think that our only concern with him was that he did not use the litter box the entire 24 hours. I know that was bad, and that made me want to rush and drive faster to get him home because I knew that couldn't be good, you know. But other than that, he was fine. He ate well. He every time we gave them food, he would eat. Luna, she was super scared, shaking the entire 24 hours. She was shaking, but she was very brave. She would try to get close to us. She would try to like sleep on our lap, look out the window, but she was very scared. And I'm so proud of her. Towards the end, she got a lot more comfortable. She would sit in the console, I think it's called. Just sit there, look cute, and she just started looking out the window. Towards the end, I felt like she got used to it. She never entirely stopped shaking, but towards the end, she started shaking less. Ash, our little hider, like I said, he spent most of the time under the passenger seat. There's not really much to say there. But Luna and Ash did use the litter box. Just Henny was the only one who didn't. So now feeding and hydration. We fed them only wet food throughout the whole trip and then diluted it with a little bit of water so that we can make sure that they were eating and staying hydrated. Two birds, one stone kind of thing. They all ate. I think that in the beginning, they just weren't finishing their portions, but they all ate for the most part. That wasn't a concern with any of them at all. Thankfully, none of our cats got nauseous throughout the trip. So at the end of the day, thankfully, we made it to Seattle safe. All of us did. My boyfriend and I and our 3 cats. We're a family of 5. I'd say this trip is not for every cat. I personally don't see myself ever doing this kind of trip again, not only because of the stress of being on the road with cats, but that drive was just too long and we wanted to do it all in one shot because we didn't want to struggle with having to find a hotel who allowed us to have not 1, not 2, but 3 cats. So my boyfriend and I kind of switched turns driving, but I never liked driving from like LA to Vegas, which is a 4 to 6 hour trip. So you can imagine how I felt about 24 hours. I think next time what we'll end up doing is we'll ship the car from point A to point B and then just fly with our cats out there. That is a little trickier because you can only take 1 cat per passenger. So we need another head to book a flight with us so we can take all 3 at once or figure something out from that standpoint. But I don't see myself or my cats doing this trip ever again. But it's possible, you know, and so I hope that this video helps you with your upcoming road trip that you have. I know that for whatever reasons, we have to travel with our pets, whether it be taking our car with us or whatever it may be. I hope this video helps out. And again, every cat reacts differently. I recommend reaching out to your vet and asking them if they can give you like the Prozac that Luna was prescribed. Maybe worst case scenario, you have it there to use on them if needed. But I hope this helped and good luck on your road trip.